Welcome back to the Grow Show. This episode, we are continuing our conversation about growing boldly through travel. We have Stacy with us. If this is your first episode, go back to the previous episode because we are continuing. And it's really about how do you grow boldly? How do you grow about and learn about yourself, learn about cultures, learn about the world through the form of travel. And so, Stacey, we left off. We talked about the funding because I know that was a big question that people have, and we left off talking about a big part of having the money to travel is because you don't necessarily shop, and then your bags are packed in a certain way where you don't have space to shop, right? And so, tell us how you pack, because I know when we did our first 30 days and they saw those two carry-ons,
people were in awe. People were like, wow, what are y'all doing? Like, in fact, some people did not believe we only had two carry-ons.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
and a knapsack.
So you share, how do you pack? How do you figure out what's going on in your suitcase based on where you're going?
And how long?
Yeah, it depends on how long I'm going for. I'm not just a carry-on person. I usually have another bag. But sometimes it depends on if it's a duffel bag or... Yeah, it depends on where I'm going.
Yeah.
And some countries, like my trip, they allow 2 check bags. But I ain't crazy enough to, pack 2 check bags. And then like Air India, someplace where I go, they allow 70 pounds instead of 50 pounds.
Okay.
And I go on like a crazy person putting 70 pounds and then I pull my bag. So you gotta be you gotta be wise with this. So I use packing cubes. So first thing is I do color themes for my trips or themes. So I either do like an African theme or I do yellows or green, mostly greens, reds, etc. So I could combine colors and that kind of thing, and rewear stuff, and so it can work. And so I do that not just with I do that in life, just in weeks and that kind of thing. But that's how it works. And then I also use packing cubes. If you don't have cubes, those Shein bags make really good packing cubes too, and you put your outfits in those. So I'll put all my shirts together and I roll them tight, so I know where everything is. So I'm not just looking through everything, right?
I tried the packing cubes,
Yeah, but they work for you. You must have to try it again, man.
I have packing cubes right home, and the last trip I did not carry them.
Wow, I use them every single time. Even if I go on a weekend trip, I do. So I have everything in a different...
Just stuff all around.
So talk about some of the things. I'm going to talk about some of the things that would be in a suitcase for a man, and you talk about some of the things that would be in a suitcase for a woman.
Right.
All right? So tell me what are some of the things that would be in a suitcase for a woman when you pack in a compact suitcase.
Yeah, so I have all my, my stuff, my swimsuits. I love the beach. I'm gonna get in a pool or something, so I usually have a cube full of swimsuits. That's it.
Really?
Yes, a cube full of swimsuits.
So how many swimsuits?
It depends on how long I'm going for. At least 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5 or 6 swimsuits.
Right.
Right.
And then,
a whole slew of underwear.
Right. And then my long pants. Right.
How
and
many
my
of those?
Maybe like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah. Different colored jeans, like light.
About how many?
You're doing better.
There are 4. So
about 4 jeans.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
And then tops, right? So I try to take about 10 tops.
Okay.
And so I can switch them with the different bottoms.
Okay.
And then I always try to go to church when I travel, so I always pack at least 1 or 2 dresses and skirts, right?
What
and
accessories?
And accessories, yes. I have 1 little bag of accessories. I try to keep it simple and I just reuse them, etc. 1 pair of sandals, 1 pair of boots, because I like to hike. So my boots, pair of tennis, which I usually travel in my tennis, right, for comfort and everything. I usually don't carry heels because I ain't trying to impress. I ain't going fancy or whatever. So maybe a dressy pair of sandals and then flip-flops for the beach and also to walk around, in the hotel room, etc.
So that's a boot, sandals, tennis, flip-flop. That's it?
That's it.
All right,
yeah,
so that's
4 pairs of shoes.
Very good. I don't pack that much shoes.
Yeah, I have to because I have to be comfortable, right? And so my Birkensteins are always in there. So I have my Birkenstocks a little bit. I have to be comfortable.
So I gotta rethink my packing.
So here's it for the male now. You want to get this?
No, we don't want to
Yeah, everybody here.
I know, right?
1 black jeans, 1 blue jeans.
Right.
Bam, that's the pants. All right? Depends on how long, we're going to have 2 weeks set of underwears.
Right.
All right? 2 weeks set of t-shirts. So if we're going for a month, I have 2 weeks underwear, 2 weeks t-shirts.
Right. Yeah, and you do laundry. I do laundry well.
1 tennis and a slippers. And then that's it. That's the packet.
Okay. That's why. Then you can use the rest of your space fast.
I I'm more along his lines, along
Right.
with the accessories.
Right.
Yeah.
But when we first that first year, he was very strict on me. Right? So we ain't packing a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And so I went on the extreme with him, like
Right.
one jeans.
No, it was more than one jeans. You had
One-
blue
maybe
jeans, you had a
two.
black
Two.
jeans. Then you had some stretch pants.
Right,
But
like
you didn't have
workout
as
pants.
much
I didn't have
what she's describing.
Yeah.
shoes. I
Yeah.
remember
No,
that
a slippers and a
I had
tennis.
one tennis.
Oh, wow.
With every
No.
every outfit, get that one tennis.
After that month, I was like, I don't want to see you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I have to switch it up a little bit.
So that's good. So it's possible.
It's possible, but that's not possible in a carry-on. That's because I have that in my chest
see?
bag.
Okay.
And in my carry-on, I always, of course, on the carry extra change of clothes and everything because they could lose my
Yes.
bag and all that sort of stuff. So
Good.
yeah,
Good,
it just
good,
depends.
good.
Sometimes I don't carry a carry-on. I just carry my backpack and my big luggage.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just depends on the trip and how long I'm going for. And I always try to do laundry. I do laundry. Sometimes
Right.
it depends on where I'm staying.
Yeah.
Apart hotels, and I look, or I find laundry facilities. Depends on how long I'm going
Yeah,
for.
I think that's a big lesson there when it comes to packing. It depends on how long you're going
Right.
for, and because I think that first year too, we were literally moving so
Yes.
much.
Right.
Spending
Yeah.
like 3 days in the city and we were going and you travel Europe, you know it's
Right.
trains, you know it's buses.
Yeah.
You cannot have those big suitcases,
Yeah,
no
it's
luggage.
hard.
You look crazy walking down the street with those big. So you needed to have something compact
Right.
to be able to move and transition.
Right.
And then two, money also comes into play because if you have bigger luggages, when you're traveling in city to those different cities, if you have more luggage, you have to pay more for them.
Yeah, depending
Yeah.
on.
See, when you
Sometimes.
go into the destination, you carry a big thing. But if you're going from London to Spain or whatever
Right.
it is,
You have to look at the
you have to
carriers
look
and what the
'cause
what
you
the
now pay
requirements
more.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
For
it.
sure.
So we looked at packing, we looked at funding. Let's talk about fear. That's a big thing. People are afraid to travel because they are afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of so many
Certain
factors.
countries they're
Right.
afraid of
Yeah,
because of what they
culture
hear.
there.
Certain culture, I remember when we went to Czech Republic, they told us what?
Not to go because they kidnap women in Czech Republic.
Oh wow.
That person was
And we had the
really serious.
we had the
Wow.
grandest time in Czech
Me
Republic.
too. Czech was my 100th country. I loved it. I didn't hear those things.
Yeah.
But people will put fear in you. Like some things I don't, because I travel by myself, right? I'm a solo traveler and I'm a female, but I take certain safety precautions,
Yes.
right? And I'm wise. I don't drink when I travel. I usually don't drink at all, but I don't party late at night and, talking to a bunch of strangers
Yeah.
and those kind of things. But when it comes to fear, you say it's false evidence appearing real, right? And having those fears, my thing is do it afraid. Do it afraid or do it uncomfortable, because usually on the other side of fear is the most beautiful destinations, no matter what it is, journeys, wherever, and that's when you have the best time,
Yes.
right? When people try to have that fear and keep you away from it. For me, it's not necessarily fear, but flying for me is very uncomfortable. I know some people are afraid of. I have a eustachian tube dysfunction, and my ENT were like, "You shouldn't be flying at all." I was like, "Well, just go ahead and bury me now. I can't travel." And so, for me, I do what I need to do. I take my medication. I make sure I protect my ears, experience as much as I could, and I get through it. I sleep on most of the flights because my ears may hurt, but I do it afraid, or I do it even if it's a little uncomfortable, because it's a means to an end. I know where I want to go. This is a destination. It's not going to last forever, And when I wake up, I'm going to be in this beautiful country, and it's going to be worth it. And so even fears of, in different countries, and like when I went to India, and people had put the fear in me, "Oh, don't eat no food off the side of the street." And
That street food tastes so good.
You're going to get the deli belly, and I'm like, I got my charcoal. Like I travel with my charcoal, my activated charcoal, and my medicine and everything. And I
That's
had
so
me a
good.
good time. I mean, I still was looking like, making sure it was a little sanitary. But you would never do nothing if you listen to people sometimes,
That's the
Be
best.
right?
paralyzed by fear.
Yes.
You'd miss out.
And you'll miss out on so many things, and then you live with regrets. And I don't like to live with regrets.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. And that's
Yeah.
the message, y'all. I just want to stress that if you let fear cause you to not travel or go far places or go to places that perhaps you'd be like, what? Well, you're really missing out. You're really missing out on that experience, that growth, for sure.
yeah.
And also recognize that one person's experience may not be your experience. And so
Exactly.
don't let your life or your decisions be anchored on, okay, so you went and you had a bad experience in Prague. Okay, that's
Right.
you. That don't mean I'm gonna have that same experience.
Right, exactly.
Right? And so you have to look at life like that.
Yeah, and part of
While
it
you're
also-
taking precaution and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
don't be so paralyzed, man.
Right, and part of it is also preparation. I do a lot of research. Usually I
Yes.
do a lot of research where I'm going, right? And I do read reviews and I look up in my travel groups to see who
Yes.
else has gone and who's had good experiences
Yes.
or bad. And I'm aware of some things, right? But I don't let it stop me.
Yeah.
And I see what the predominant
Yes.
takeaway is or consensus is on a destination, and then I'm guided accordingly.
Another interesting fear that came up, and then we're going to go to the final topic, but the fear of leaving home. Because I remember one year when we decided and we say we're gonna we announced all the places we go and we're going for 30 days. We were so excited.
Right.
Someone messaged and say, "You sure? Don't be telling nobody you traveling and you come back.
Yeah.
Your house
Host,
is
yeah.
and my response was, well, whatever they taking now is let
Be
them
replaced.
Right,
take.
Ain't nothing else getting out be replaced.
My
Except my big
valuable
TV.
the experiences that I'm creating
Right.
when I travel.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
speak to that, like people who are afraid of leaving possessions at home or just whatever.
Or people,
Or
right?
people.
Or people, and they think it's not going to be there when I get back or my job or whatever. Some things, right? My thing is, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And God will protect you and He'll take care of what He has for you, especially if He's in everything. And I pray and I ask God and that happened to me once. I went away and I came back and someone had broken into my house in Turks and Caicos. I had renter's insurance and it got replaced, right? But it didn't stop me from going again,
Yeah.
right? And even me, people be like, oh, you shouldn't tell people where you're going because you're
Don't be
single.
posting
And
on
don't be
social
posting,
media.
right? Like, I post a lot. I was like, that's my friends. And if something, I was like, I'm protected. My mommy and my daddy stay on their knees. They always got me covered,
Yeah.
And I exercise wisdom, and I believe I'm careful when I travel.
Yeah,
So I don't let that fear,
Yeah, we get that a
Yeah.
lot. Don't be posting on social media when
Right.
you're going, or wait till you then leave the
Leave it
place.
and come back.
I'm like, no, I'm in the
Time
moment
for
and I'm
that.
gonna enjoy
Exactly.
this
When
now.
I come back, I forget to post.
Yeah.
I have pictures from
Exactly.
2 years ago. I quaffle, that quaffle in Canada. I posted, things I didn't post it in the moment.
Right.
And then life happens, people like, you make
Like,
sense
oh yeah,
posting that in the
yeah.
moment.
And then I have people who be waiting on me. You travel
Yeah.
vicariously through me,
Yes.
and I respect that. And
Yes.
my parents, even if I don't post for a day or two, my mommy or my daddy will be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you okay? Everything good?"
And that's another thing too, because your loved ones, they ain't see you posting, they ain't hearing from you.
Right.
They could be also be fearful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm gonna post.
So 103 countries is an accomplishment. What would you say is some of the memorable moments or locations?
Yeah. So my favorite country, and I always talk about, is Bhutan. That was my favorite, and that whole trip was amazing. I did India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and then Doha on the way home, and it was just amazing. The culture is so rich. And it was so beautiful and peaceful. And
You ain't had
Bhutan,
some of those things.
I hear them, but
I remember
It
you
was like,
posting
wow.
one time. I remember you posting one time. I can't remember when it was. And you said you were somewhere. I was like, where in the world is that going?
Right. That's how I was about Bhutan. I never really heard about it until my cousin told me about it, and then that's when I searched it, and I was like, $200 a night sustainability development fee. What is it? And then I started researching about the country, and I was like, oh wow, they have a gross national happiness. You love this
Wow.
instead of gross domestic product, and they have
Wow.
a minister of happiness, and they have these
Wow.
pillars in their national development plan that speak to that and build
Wow.
that country, and you could see it and feel it. You go into Bhutan, just have his eyes open.
no, we going. Rest.
It's just
Trust, that's my thing.
And it's close to
Happiness.
India and Nepal and Bangladesh, so I combine
Yeah.
those, right? And you only could get to it, only a handful of planes and people fly
Okay.
there because it's kind of remote and yeah, it's just beautiful. It's the most amazing place. Yes.
So here's an interesting question, a follow-up to that. And this one gonna know what I mean when I ask it. What would you say to people? And we're still on memorable moments. I
Right.
want to hear a couple more if you have any more. But what would you say to people who say, I am not interested in third world country experience? I want to
Right.
go to first world life.
Oh,
Talk to me. I ain't calling no name.
I know,
Stacey.
right.
I ain't looking over there.
I mean, I don't even, when I go to these countries, I don't even look at first world, third world, whatever. You know, like I don't even see that. Like I don't even know what the category is I'm going. I just know I want to go. It's beautiful. The people are amazing, you know. And you look at them in the third world countries that they say, and I always look at the children. That's where I gauge like the happiness, you know, what's going on in the country. And the children are beautiful, they're happy, and they having the best times of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something, but all of the countries that you go to, even if it's third world or remote, they cater to, you know, tourists. And so you can find a mall, you know, if that's what you want to go to. You'll have internet. Right? Those are the things that you want.
Grocery delivery. They have grocery delivery.
Most of them have Uber and Uber Eats and those kind of things. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You just don't know, right?
That question was for him.
Right.
Just throw me under the bus, right? Just like that.
So before we wrap up, we move to the final question. Is there any other memorable moments other than the ones you mentioned? Anything else?
There's so many, but most of them involve the wonderful people that I meet, right, and the experiences especially my church, because I belong to the Seventh-day Adventist church. I grew up in it, and I usually try to find a church where I go if it's on a Saturday, and I go to worship just to see the experience, you know, if it's different or how like it is. And it's just amazing how most of the time they embrace me, and even if I don't speak the language, but I try to find an English-speaking one, and they are just very warm and welcoming. They have potluck, or they invite me home for lunch, and those kind of things, and it's just always amazing.
I have a question before while we're on this. And the caveat for this question, you don't have to say the country. If you don't want to discredit anybody's country, because people are, you know, we catch feelings from Bahamas. You don't have to say where, but what experience that you had was terrible that you'd be like, never again? And you don't have to say the country.
I wouldn't say never again, but it was... Yeah, I had some where it was a lot of scammers and people trying to take advantage of me, like from the airport, you know, and just harassing and overcharging and just being pushy, and I didn't feel safe, you know. And then just some shadiness that went on even with like the hotel people. And I just was like, no, I can't
First or
do this
third world
again.
country.
I don't. I'm not gonna say.
I don't want a country. I just want the first or third.
And I mean, there's times when I ended up in the ER, in emergency room, but it wasn't directly. It wasn't related to the country. It's just, you know, me having incidents or accidents and that happening, and then their healthcare system was surprisingly good. You know, in some of those places, and I always have health insurance, travel insurance is a must when you travel because things can happen. And then most of my worst experiences have happened in the United States of America.
Oh, Jesus, Lord. Didn't I say
I'm telling you.
And that's how the 5 months started.
They always putting out alerts on us, and that's where I got my wallet stolen, my credit cards, and my money right at the airport.
I said that to my wife. We were in Europe for a whole month. We were coming in at 10 o'clock in the night, 11 o'clock in the night, walk in, and never felt unsafe. The minute we land in New Orleans, right? That's when, I call it. We were on Bourbon Street, and it was fine with the tourist spot, but then we went on Canal. And then I had to snatch my wife next to me and say, somebody gonna die if they touch you. Because I felt so unsafe. I said, let's get back into the tourist area. But we didn't feel any, and I'm not saying there's not unsafe areas in Europe, but we did not feel one day or one attempt of being unsafe.
Do you go many places, and I see we're running out of time, but did you go many places where you were the only of your skin color?
Oh, yeah.
That's very common.
Yeah, very common.
Do you feel some type of way? I know when we first experienced it, we had like,
Now I like all the attention.
Sometimes it gets too much, but I've been many to Greenland. I can name countries, so many countries. Bhutan. I never saw another person of color ever. Maybe an Indian or something, you know, but never an African, you know, or African American or Caribbean person. And then some countries it gets really scary, and they would follow you around. They would take pictures of you and
scary in the sense that they're highlighting and looking because they've never really...
No, some of them have seen it. And that's some countries like Myanmar, everywhere. I know it's like new for them, like Burma, you know, and I that's what it was. It's unusual for them. But other countries, it was just I don't know what it was. They say, oh, it's your hair. It's like some of y'all black darker than me, you know. But it was just a different type. It was. I get used to it after a while.
I said that. I say we're VIP babes. Look at
We're
the star of the show.
When I lived in Asia, I got it all the time.
Yeah. See,
So-
she does it. So last question. Leave
What?
that.
We have one more question. It's running out of time. I have to be the time police here.
What is still on your travel bucket list?
Yes.
So everything else, it's 195 countries. I've only done 103. I still have
and you
92
intend to do all
I will do
195.
all of them. Antarctica will be the last because it's not really a country, so that's on the list. But yeah, and for this year, I'm focusing on Africa. That's why I'm manifesting Africa in all my books and everything. I haven't done much of Africa because I had an African ex-boyfriend who had me mad at the whole continent, right? But now that I'm healed
you see?
and delivered
And
whole,
ready to go again.
I could enjoy it with a peaceful spirit and at peace, and I'm excited. I'm actually going in 2 weeks to Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania and Uganda in the night for Easter, and so I'm really excited about that.
Wow.
So
Yes.
what does growing boldly mean to you?
It just stepping outside my comfort zone, even this Africa trip, right? Going outside, stepping outside into, areas that I may be intimidated by or I may not want to touch, and healing processes, especially. And that's what this Africa trip is for me. It's part of my healing process. And I know that. And I've been putting it off for a while.
Wow.
And so it's growing in every area of my life, not just in travel, but travel helps me to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Woo. So there you have it, ladies and gents. This is a wrap-up of episode 8 of The Grow Show, and we have talked about travel. If you have any questions, any comments, you're going to just drop them down in the comment area, and we will give you some more information and feedback on it.
And I want to leave you with a bold step. If you haven't decided already, decide on the next trip you will visit. And make sure it's a location that maybe excites you, but also pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And I want you to drop it in the chat for us so we can push you and celebrate you when you actually go and you make that trip. Until next time,
time,
grow boldly.
grow bold.